Hello everyone, today we're looking at a video on different angle facts, and we're going to look through 4 different angle facts today associated to a right angle, a straight line, a point and a triangle, and then we're going to apply these facts to different questions to work out missing angles. So my starting point today is the very first thing at the top over here, which is a right angle. Now a lot of people know that a right angle is equal to 90 degrees. And this is our very first point when we have our first angle fact, is that a right angle is equal to 90 degrees. If you measure a right angle with a protractor, it's equal to 90 degrees. Now, underneath the right angle, I have a diagram which shows a straight line formed by 2 right angles. Now, because this right angle is 90 degrees and this right angle is also 90 degrees, that means a straight line is the addition of 90 and 90, making the angles that are on a straight line must add up to 180 degrees. So if you've ever got a straight line, the angles on that straight line add up to 180 degrees. And again, a protractor will show you that it starts at 0 and ends at 180. Underneath that, I've now got all the angles at a point. Now, a point is a point in space, and we can see that around this point, there are 2 lines or 4 right angles, which are all 90 degrees each. If we add all that together, 90 and 90 is 180, plus another 90 is 270, plus another 90 is 360 degrees. So what we've got here, our first 3 key angle facts, is that a right angle is equal to 90 degrees, a straight line is equal to 180 degrees, and angles at a point add up to 360 degrees. Now the last key angle fact is associated to angles in a triangle, and this is something you can even do at home yourself. If you draw a triangle, as I have done here, and then cut around the triangle, you end up with very simply a triangle that looks like this. Now, if I tear off the 3 corners, so I tear off the first corner, tear off the second corner, and tear off the third corner, and then put the 3 corners next to each other with all the lines joined together, you will see that if you line them up, they actually create a straight line. And this will occur for any triangle that you do. If you put here the 3 corners together, they create a straight line. And we know that angles in a straight line add up to 180 degrees, which means that angles in a triangle also add up to 180 degrees. And that is the last key angle fact. So what we're going to look at now are a few questions which require our understanding of these 4 key facts to help us find missing angles. So if we look over here, we have 2 different questions. The first question has a straight line, and the second question has angles at a point. So because the first question, we said angles on a straight line add to 180, we know that A plus 71 must be equal to 180. And then if we're trying to work out A, we can simply subtract 71 from both sides, or subtract 71 from 180, and that gives us a value of 109 degrees. So that's simply using the fact that angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. Now the next question has 2 rules which we've seen in play. We have a right angle over here, and a right angle we know is equal to 90 degrees. And we have these 3 angles joining at a single point. This is our single point over here. And we know the angles at a point add up to 360. So we can say that B plus 130 plus 90 is equal to 360. And there are different ways you can do this. You can either subtract away the 90 and then the 130, or you can add them together first and then subtract away. If we add these together first, we get B plus 220 is equal to 360. And then if we subtract away the 220 from here and the 220 from here, we end up with B equal to 140 degrees. So again, very, very clear process there. For me, I would just recommend annotating the diagram as you go along. So I would write in the 90 and make it easier for yourself when you're doing questions like this. Sometimes don't even worry what they're looking for you to work out. Just work out as many angles as you can. We're now going to move on to some examples with a triangle. So we're going to use the angle facts for a triangle and also the other facts as well, depending on the question. So over here, I have two questions. If we look at the first one at the top, we have three angles inside a triangle. Now we have already established that angles in a triangle add to 180 degrees. So we could say that P plus the 30 plus the 105 must add up to 180. And then we can say, well, 30 and 105, well, that makes 135 is equal to 180. And I need to know what's left behind to work this out. Well, we can do that by simply taking 135 away from both sides, or from 180, and that will give us a value of 45 degrees. So P is equal to 45 degrees. And that we've now seen is just use all of our different rules in those last three examples. We now come to an example which is going to kind of bring all of these together, or at least a few more of these together, and then we're going to look at one last one which uses all of these rules. Now, when I've got a question like this, I kind of think of this as a puzzle where you've got lots of different things which you can work out, which will help you to work out your final answer. For example, X is inside a triangle. And we know that the angles inside a triangle add to 180, but I've only got one other angle. I don't have this one. But this angle is connected to a straight line. So actually, I could say, well, I know this is a straight line. So if I look at this angle over here, I'm just going to call this A maybe, or something like that. We can say that A plus 132 is equal to 180 because we know it's a straight line. I can then take away 132 from both sides, and that gives me A is equal to 44 degrees. And I'm actually going to write that over here. That's equal to 44. You don't have to write down A if you don't want to, but we can say that this angle over here, A, is equal to 44. Let's make it a little bit clearer. 44 degrees. Now we have the fact that we have the missing angle we needed to work out the angles in a triangle adding up to 180. So we didn't do it in one step, but we can now say that 44 plus 51 plus X is equal to 180. If we add these together, 44 and 51, we end up with 95 plus X is equal to 180. And then if we want to work out the value of X, we simply just need to know how much more I need to get from 95 to 180, which I can do by subtracting 95 from both sides. And that will give me X is equal to 85 degrees. So we can see here quite clearly that we've used two of our rules. We used angles on a straight line add to 180 in the pink, and then in red, angles in a triangle add to 180. Okay, so we're now going to look at our very last example. It's going to be using all 4 of these rules, and I'm going to show you this just on the other side. So what we have over here is our last question, and we're going to see all of these rules in play here. Now we can see the angle X is on the left hand side, but let's just ignore that for a second. For me, I would say let's just try and work out as many other angles we can do using the rules on the right hand side. Now the first thing is there is a right angle in this triangle on the right hand side, so I'm just going to put over here that this angle over here is equal to 90 degrees. Now we have a straight line over here. This is our straight line, so we could say the angles over here are going to add up to 180, and we also have a point over here, so we can see that these angles are going to add up to 360. We have a triangle as well, which means that we can see that the angles inside here will add up to 180. So let's do this step by step. So we start with the angle over here. Let's call this angle A. We can say that A and 40 and 90 must make 180. So to start with, A plus 40 plus 90 must equal to 180. 40 and 90 add to make 130, and that means that A, if we take away 130 from both sides, minus 130 minus 130, we get A is equal to 50 degrees. So A is equal to 50 degrees. So I'm going to write over here, instead of A now, I'm going to rewrite that as 50 degrees. So that's one of our angles in the triangle. Let's now look at the top and use the angles at a point. Angles at a point add up to 360. So if we call this angle over here, maybe angle B, we can say that angle B plus 275 is equal to 360. And therefore, B is just whatever 360 is, minus 275. And if we work that out, B is equal to 80 degrees. So this angle over here is now equal to 80 degrees. I'm going to get rid of that B, but again, you can keep that there to make it easier for yourself. Now, we've got 2 angles from our triangle. That means we can now work out our third angle from our triangle, because we know the angles in a triangle add to 180. So we had over here, this was angle A, this was angle B, and now if we look at angle C, we can say that 50 plus 80 plus angle C is equal to 180. If we add up together the 50 and 80, that gives us 130 plus C is equal to 180. And then finally, if we subtract the 130 from both sides, we get C is equal to 50 degrees as well. So this angle over here is now equal to 50 degrees, which now actually allows us to work out X, because we now have our final straight line. So if we look at that final part over there, we can simply say that X plus 50 is equal to 180 for this straight line over here. And if we subtract away 50 from both sides, we get X is equal to 130 degrees. So from that, that's our full question. Lots of different steps there, but really we're just using these 4 rules. We use the fact that there's right angle triangles equal to 90 degrees, angles on a straight line add to 180, and angles at a point add to 360. Finally, angles in a triangle add to 180, and just applying this combination of rules enables you to tackle a challenging question like this. Anyway, I hope that's made sense. If it hasn't, please comment below or leave a message for me privately. Thank you very much. Take care.